Okay.
Okay. All right. So first up here, in terms of what we have that we're showing off on here at CES 2013, is going to be a new product that not a lot of people actually are expecting from us, which is a storage device. So we have actually had storage devices previously, such as USB 3, USB 2, external hard drives that we've sold predominantly for our finished products like notebooks and ultrabooks, things like that, as well as, of course, optical. And actually, part of our development team actually came through along with the rest of our development team and the engineering team on R&D. So we do have a dedicated in-house R&D team that helped to develop, design, and set this product actually up. So this has been something that we've been working on for a very long period of time, a little bit over 10 months now at this point. So it is something that we have had extensive time in terms of looking at the marketplace, looking at actually how we're designing it, and what we're trying to achieve in terms of what's the expectation of the marketplace and the user base. For the user base, definitely, I mean, first and foremost for a storage product, the expectation is to have a high level of functionality in terms of compatibility, interoperability, and reliability. Definitely, performance and usability elements are 100% important, but, more than anything else, this is where you're running your operating system, it's where you're running your storage, so you want to ensure that it's going to be a very reliable and consistently installed product. So that's where I think we spent a huge amount of work as we looked at, previous storage solutions and based on, user feedback and even our own experience at helping to improve interoperability on our own motherboards format. We were able to kind of get the guidance and realize, hey, this is what we needed to do. So we've spent a huge amount of time doing actually validation on our own motherboards as well as that of even competitors. We've actively done verification on our current generation chipsets like Z77, X79, AM3 Plus, and that's been very important because what we want the users to be able to do is just drop this in, have it be plug and play, don't have to worry about anything, and if they still want to run localized RAID or if they want to do multi-GPU configurations, they're not going to have to worry about optional ROM configurations and a lot of complex variables. They can treat this just pretty much like it would be like installing like a sound card. That's the main goal. We're not going to be going into the specifics regarding any type of performance, the controller, topology, memory, or any of that stuff. Closer to around the end of Q1 when we get ready to really have all the information and we finish the kind of fine-tuning and polish that this product deserves, we'll release that information out to the marketplace. We are going to do, I think, some really cool stuff in terms of adding additional value and functionality on the software side. But once we get a little bit closer to the release date, we'll definitely make sure and let you guys know what we're going to be doing there.
All right, when you're ready.
Okay, so next up we have here is, kind of like the best of the best. Asus is historically known for really kind of pushing the envelope when it comes to GPU designs, and definitely this is what this represents. It's the pinnacle of graphics performance. So you have two 7970 gigahertz editions, no throttling in any respect, so we have essentially just two full 7970 gigahertz cards on a single board. The really cool thing that you're going to notice though is that this card is actually not like our previous generation super flagship cards. But this is actually a 2-slot card versus a 3-slot. So it's actually a little bit more in terms of the space saving. And it features a very interesting cooling design. So we actually have a hybrid solution in place. So if you look actually on the inside of the card underneath, we have an 80 millimeter fan, and that actually is a downward firing fan to help us aid in cooling down the PCB and the VRM assembly. And of course, just like all our high-end cards, it's 100% fully custom. It features our Digi Plus VRM, our SAP power solutions, and all our customized power tuning. And that's actually very important for this card because one of the difficulties you have with a card that has this high of a power requirement is fighting power target variability issues. So here we've been able to go ahead and tune and maximize the card to ensure that we're maintaining the highest level of performance and even actually leaving a bit of headroom so that if users do want to be able to overclock the card, they can. And of course that can be done through our software where we're allowing you to customize the fan, be able to adjust voltage, your clock speeds, do the logging, all the stuff you expect within GPU Tweak. Now, definitely for this product, the expectation would be more on the lines of just plug and play for the users that are looking for the absolute kind of best. And they just want to drop it in. Rounding out the cooling solution, we've definitely got something really cool here. It's a double wide, closed loop water cooling system, and that's actually connected through directly onto the actual GPUs, aiding in the cooling. And the VBIOS actually controls all the ramping there, so it's very effective, very smooth. It's actually quite quiet under gaming load and essentially silent under idle. The majority of noise you hear is almost just exclusively from the pump inside this awesome little Coolants Exos unit. And as far as temperature performance, it's really outstanding. In most situations, you're going to see the temperature performance under full load be somewhere probably between about 55 to about maybe 57 C. So when you realize that that's two, 7970 gigahertz edition cards, that's pretty amazing. Here we were running the unit in two-way Infinity, so that's already an increased resolution. Not all users always realize that when you're actually running multi-monitor, it's a higher workload on the actual GPUs, so your actual temperatures would go up compared to running one single panel. Just like if you ran like 1080p versus QHD resolutions, temperature goes up a little bit. But you can see actually here, of course, we have all the information. We've got all log results. You can see the nice clock speeds. But here's just a recorded run from us looping, about 35 minutes worth of gameplay here in actually this office. So you can see we didn't crack over 53C on the card, so quite impressive in terms of what you're able to do.
Now, question for you. We've heard from different people, and these are unconfirmed things, but some people have mentioned that they have problems running the Aries cards because they're basically Crossfire built into a single unit on different boards, even though they support Crossfire. Are you guys seeing that, or is that something that just might be individual to the boards that they have it on, like if it's on a competitor's board versus being on an Asus board?
It could possibly be. There's certain kind of power tuning requirements that a manufacturer has to do on a motherboard to maximize, especially higher end GPUs initialize correctly. But definitely, our R&D team hasn't actively heard about that. For these super high end cards, we have a usually pretty high level of commitment from our system integrators, who would be a great kind of set of people with the right environment and the right variation of product to kind of let us know for those type of issues. But neither from the enthusiast community that are purchasing it or from our partners have we ever heard directly of that type of issue. But my expectation, especially with Crossfire in most situations, is it tends to be more related to driver inconsistencies within the OS environment. So, maybe pre-existing cap profiles, pre-existing, Crossfire profiles that sometimes maybe they haven't been removed correctly. And until that's kind of fully cleaned out, it doesn't work right.
One other thing that we've had, and we've noticed this quite a bit as we started covering your consumer line, is that there is a big trend. Everybody knows, you're going to get the Aries card. You'll see it on an ROG board or one of your higher end boards. But we're getting a lot of questions on, the Pro Series boards, the Pro M, and they're looking to put Aries or Crossfire or multiple GPUs on these boards and spend less on the motherboard because it's a solid product even at that price point, and go ahead and dump in a bigger card. Are you guys going to start tuning for that? Because that's one of the places we've gotten many questions. Will this run? Would this run with an Aries? If I went and spent the extra money on an Aries or on one of your other high-end cards, is it going to work?
I definitely don't think that that's ever really been an issue for us. In our discussions that we've had, we always actively put in kind of the same work in terms of the UEFI development, and that controls a huge amount of the initialization policies and how a board works with different types of GPUs and different types of add-in products. So something, let's say, like our PA-Z77-V, right? So our standard kind of entry-level board, or even something like our LE Plus, we pretty much put the same amount of work that we're doing that into a deluxe or into a formula board. Now the RG series are always going to take it to the next level in terms of having even a higher level of interoperability and performance tuning, because that's the expectation for that segmentation. But in terms of even making sure just kind of things work right, we test GTX 690s, or we test 7970 gigahertz edition cards and our entry level boards, because we still need to make sure they work right. So a user should never feel a possible issue. And I think we've even shown that once again when we've talked about like UEFIs, where we don't withhold like UEFIs on entry level boards versus our high end boards. Dash V is going to get the same number of updates that our deluxe board is going to have, and that's definitely not the case with a lot of competitors, where we try to make sure that that symmetry is in place.
And my last question, still playing into the ROG line, are you going to? Is Asus going to continue their pattern of what we see in the ROG today is going to trickle down into the your entry level, your channel series boards? Are we still going to see that kind of pattern from you?
I think we definitely use ROG, as the spearhead, right, to drive innovation for the motherboard department. The channel team is definitely always committed to try to do new and unique things on their own, as well as even the tough team or the WS team. And collectively, we try to respect certain, let's say, IP within each one of those families that we don't necessarily always want to roll out into other product lines, because there could be conflict of, segmentation perception, or even the usability. Maybe not everybody needs that exact feature, right? So that doesn't necessarily make sense to roll it down. But I think that, we do try to take on a very high level and say, what, if we're going to push the envelope in this, is this something that might make sense to try to roll down? So RG will always maintain that, position of the highest level of innovation, the highest level of product choice development. But as far as whether or not we're going to directly take an idea from it, I think every single team we try to be innovative on, respectively. But it's all within the Asus family, so if we feel that we can benefit the family as an entire whole, definitely, we try to work within that. But there's competition within the teams as well, to try to even outdo each other. So, friendly competition helps to create, innovation, and at the same time, we want there to hopefully be clear lines as what the expectation is for the user. If I buy tough, I'm going to get thermal radar, and I'm not going to be confused finding thermal radar on, a Pro board. Or a WS board, unless we really got sensible feedback from the user base that told us, hey, this is something we really absolutely want to see in that product line.
Go ahead.
So this is actually a brand new panel, and this is actually continued to be supportive of actually 3D based gaming and specifically gamer oriented monitors. So a large amount of feedback that we've had from our users is for the VG series, which have been really popular, the first generation and then the second generation. But what we had is a lot of users, I don't think were consciously kind of realizing that benefit of saying, wow, I didn't know that the refresh rate was going to be such an impact to my input latency, as well as to the fluidity of the desktop experience, so like in the 2D environment, and just feeling that much more fluid pain. So, the big feedback that we had is, that's awesome, but the price bracket of being able to adopt from those monitors is a bit on the higher end. And we might not necessarily actually use the 3D technology, so we're looking for high refresh rate, super low response time. So we're introducing the world's first 144 hertz, 1 millisecond panel. It is a TN panel where we've done a lot of optimization to actually give you really good performance in terms of viewing angle, color quality. If you're an absolute, purist and you want the absolute best of the best, then of course you're going to want to really take a look at, our MX and, our PB and PA series, which are based off of IPS technology. But for gamers looking for that absolute best level of response, this is going to be a fantastic option at a much more affordable price tag. You're still going to get the 3D vision support, so that if, the users did want to do gaming later with a 3D vision enabled setup, then they're going to have that built into the monitor. They're just going to have to purchase the kit with the glasses, but it is ready in that respect. But the main focus point here is, of course, the LED backlit, 1 millisecond, and then the 144 hertz. We have gone ahead and added actually 2 cool features as well for the gaming community that they've asked us for. And one of them right here is our Game Plus technology. So for a lot of guys that do like raids and RTSs, or they're doing builds where they need to kind of like monitor time frames, there's an integrated timer, and so the user can go ahead and select the timer. And you can see you can select different times, and once you actually click that, it'll actually go ahead and enter it onto the screen. Or you can go ahead and define your own time, so maybe if you got to go back and check on a base, if you're doing like a raid, different things like that, it's a cool little helpful option. And then the other one is, you saw that there was an integrated reticle system or crosshair system. So this allows you to actually fix in different positions, actually different types of crosshairs on there. And so that sometimes can help to provide more consistency, but it's going to be really of help actually to gamers that are doing 3D, where sometimes when in 3D, the reticle or the crosshair is maybe a little bit out of place, or that it's harder to notice. So those are going to be nice new options that are going to be on these panels here. What we're doing in development side there. So this is an update here. It's the E2 M1-i Deluxe. So this is actually updated for the latest generation series of the E series processor. So that's kind of like the integrated APU version for you guys that aren't as familiar with the AMD Plays platform. So this is a really awesome little board. We've updated from the previous generation, which was limited to single band, to now where we have full dual band 2x2 support. So that's great for people that are interested in having a higher level of throughput, better streaming performance. Overall, setting this up, whether it's like maybe like a Windows home server, transcoding option, or anything along those lines, or just solid little everyday box that is low power consumption. It's got some great graphics performance in terms of handling moderate mainstream oriented gaming, and you've got all the kind of expansion that you're looking for. You've got DDR3 support, 5 serial ATA, PCI Express expansion. So it's a great little option in terms of users, and of course it features a lot of the current feature set that users expect from us. So we've got our USB 3 boost technology, our Wi-Fi Go for creating a DLNA media server that you can control and work with on tablets and smartphones. So that's a great option, and of course our packet priority control software with our network eye control. So it's a nice little board, definitely, that's going to provide a nice little backbone to different types of setups. this is an update for our AM3 Plus line. This is actually the Sabertooth 990FX Gen 3 R2.0, and this is going to be actually running concurrently with our current Sabertooth 990FX. So of course you can see it's Gen 3. Not a lot of people are aware that the latest generation of actually FX CPUs do actually have Gen 3 support. Took us a lot of time and work to actually get it to actively work, and it will offer some additional features and functionality compared to our standard Sabertooths outside of just the Gen 3. We've gone ahead and updated and incorporated the CeramX technology that we've had on previous tough boards to even add in better heat dissipation. We've gone ahead and added a larger mass cooler. We've gone ahead and integrated a couple of cool options like our direct key button, which allows for a direct seamless reboot into the UEFI by just depressing that button. But of course, that's a little bit not needed now because all our boards have of course all been updated to the latest version of the UEFI container format with .cap. So that's Z77, X79, AM3 Plus, FM2, and with that we released the cool application called Boot Setting, which actually runs on the Windows desktop, and you can just double click on it, and so any one of those boards you can now reboot directly into the UEFI. You don't even actually have to use the direct key button, so that's a really nice option that provides us a little bit more flexibility in terms of being able to give you better access to your boards. And the rest of the feature set, of course, is entirely there in terms of what we would expect for the Sabertooth line. But what we're also showing off here is we've got a couple of really cool internal videos that we're going through on the development side for Sabertooth to let users know that it's definitely not just the component choice selection. So in terms of, our tough components like our tough MOSFET or our tough capacitor, our tough chokes, that's great. But it's the sum of the entire design process. There are other competitors in the marketplace that try to message, great component quality. But what we try to message to them is that it's the entire process of what we've done. So as an example, for the chipset launch, what users can see in the video that we're putting out there is we're actually taking, 20, 30, 40 motherboards. We'll put them into our specialized temperature and humidity chamber rooms, and we'll actually leave them running for straight, 15, 20 days, and they're actively loading up the entire bus for all the systems. So the CPU, the memory, the graphics, the serial ATA, the USB, that's all actively getting stressed and monitored, allowing us to capture, data points of reliability and seeing, do we need to maybe tweak something? Do we need to improve? Do we need to make adjustments? And that's part of the reason why we're so confident in the tough line. And historically, when we first came out with it, we were willing to back it with that 5-year warranty because we had that kind of additional in-house validation and work to know that we were giving you a better class of product that's had a higher level of validation. So definitely, we always use outstanding components on our boards, but we definitely want to let users know that we're taking to the next level, always behind the scenes in terms of what we're doing on the validation side. Alright, so next up right here we have our one of our brand new actually frameless bezel monitors. This is a really awesome monitor in terms of the ID. So the ID is the actual industrial design kind of look and the feel of this monitor. The fit and finish isn't perfect, so definitely for you guys that are checking out the video, keep in mind that this is an engineering sample. It's going to look really tight and clean once we actually have the production samples hit the market soon. But the beautiful thing about this monitor is really it's super wide. So for you guys that are into a high level of productivity, database, you're doing linear workflows like editing, audio and video, Excel, you're heavy into email, you've got a huge amount of room to be able to go ahead and lay that out wide. So you can see right here we have a great example that we're watching a full-size video comfortably. It looks good, we can see that, and we still have a huge, large, high-resolution photo that's on here, and both of them look great. We're dealing with an awesome IPS panel that gives us an ultra-wide viewing angle, beautiful color quality. And in addition to that, with the MX series line, it's really about giving you guys the best of both worlds when it comes to sound and it comes to video or your image. So we're integrating, of course, our exclusive Sonic Master technology that we premiered in different notebook-oriented products. So that's our Golden Ear team that spent a huge amount of work at developing the internal housing to allow you to actually have some really nice sound. So if you're somebody that's looking for a cleaner aesthetic, maybe you don't want to have speakers, maybe you don't want to throw on headphones, you're just looking for a nice quality integrated sound, then this is going to be a great option. They're highly tuned and customized 3-watt based speakers. We have actually a customized digital DAC that's inside there that does a lot of processing to the audio that's being received to overall give you really great sound, give you good tonality, really nice treble performance. So actually I've been quite impressed by the sound performance that's offered within this MX series panel. So really nice technology, really nice features, ultra slim, You know, you've got the latest generation of complements in terms of connectivity with things like DP and your HDMI 1.4 support, and that 2560, you know, large aspect ratio, not just from a productivity side, but of course from a multimedia side. If you're taking advantage of, you know, wide aspect ratio based content, you're going to have that beautiful full frame, you know, video experience. So really nice panel. It's going to be coming to the market shortly. We already have our actual MX27 series, which is a standard aspect ratio but frameless bezel that is on the market right now, shipping. So for you guys that are interested in that without necessarily jumping to the super wide and QHD based kind of resolution units, there's another option that we have out there as well. So this is one more update that we have here. You guys might be familiar with our PA series, so that's our Pro Art or professional line. So this is more focused for the guys that are really, you know, critical in terms of image quality. They're doing more mid, let's say, a prosumer, a hobbyist level, or they're definitely using professional environments for content creation, whether it's audio or video or general content creation. You know, one of the things that there was a trend in monitors that some of the guys that have been around for a very long period of time kind of were a little bit disappointed in was when we lost kind of monitors that were supporting a little bit higher horizontal resolution. So when we dropped monitors that were doing like 1600 by 1200, right, or 1920 by 1200, and everything was focused on 1080p. So here we've actually introduced a IPS panel that's 1920 by 1200, so you get that nice bump in additional horizontal workspace. So that's a really nice plus. In addition to that, of course, we've redone the actual electronics package to even give you better, actually pre-calibrated results, tighter actually delta E results. You know, of course, we've got an IPS panel in here. We still have our 6-axis independent color control, which allows you to really tune and maximize the performance of your color and your gradation, and everything's going to be important, you know, to content creation in terms of that. As far as, you know, we still maintain our exclusive quick fit based technology, so if users want to be able to go in here and pre-fit, you know, different sizing options on the screen for whatever they're going to be producing, that's integrated in there as well. So you also have USB 3 hub integrated, so you've got a huge amount of high-speed connectivity built into this panel as well. So another great lineup here in terms of what we're doing on the PA side. There also will be another update for our PA series. So for people that are familiar right now, we have our PB 27-inch QHD, so that's 2560 by 1440 panel that's on the market, and we're finally going to be releasing our PA version of that, so the professional version with the integrated, you know, Adobe and sRGB certification support in terms of that. So that's going to be coming very shortly, just like what we already have here in this Pro Art.
All right, hi Sean. So what we have today here is the all-in-one transformer. Why we call it the transformer is the ability to undock the tablet here. What you're seeing is an 18.4-inch IPS display 1080p resolution tablet, and essentially the tablet is running Tegra 3, Android 4.1.1 Jelly Bean, and the PC station here that you see at the bottom will come from a configuration anywhere from a Core i3 processor up to a Core i7 processor. And these start at $1299, and they'll be available by the end of the first quarter. So let's take a look at some of the features. So you see here we have full Windows 8. We have a little button here so we can switch between Windows 8 and Android, the little blue button on the side, and we can go ahead and instant switch between the two. So let's go ahead and take a look at this guy undocked. Undocking, the only thing I can't show you in the live demo today, we're still working on a little bit of bugs on it, is you'll be able to undock it and still use Windows 8 from the PC base station using the Splashpoint software. So you'll still have the screen as long as you're within range of the base station. So here you see that we have the tablet, we have a little easy to carry handle on the back, as well as a little stand that you can adjust at the angle that you wish to adjust it at. So go ahead and set the stand, and we can go ahead and set it down on the table. When we're done, we can go ahead and snap it back in and dock it straight back into the base station. And there's the transformer all-in-one for you. Alright, so what we're going to look at next is going to be the, over here on this table we have our USB portable monitor. Comes in on a really light, it's a 15-inch 1366 by 768. It's based on the display link chip, and it offers a 10 millisecond response time. You don't need any external power cord, everything is powered and data goes through the USB 3.0 connection. As you can see here, we have a 1080p source material playing on the 720 or on the 768 screen. You don't really have a lag. You can play movies, you can play action movies. It works fairly well. We will have a higher resolution 1080p one available also, as well in the future. This price point, we're looking at sub 200. And this will also be available towards the end of the quarter. One other display here that we have on the end is we're showing off the 802.11c technology. What we're showing off is, as you can see here, we have a base station. In the back there, we have a micro ATX system running our PCIe AC66 card. It's a 3x3 solution. And then over here, we have the RT AC66 router. We have our server system and our client system right here. And we can see some of the speeds that we get with AC. Again, wireless is really going to depend on your environment. We do have a fairly heavy environment yet here, but you can see here that we're still getting above 500 megabit read speeds. The write speeds looks like they were affected a little bit. We can go ahead and rerun the test and live here and kind of see what results we're going to get in this environment. We can see that the writing is a little bit on the slow side. The reading, typically with AC in a fairly good environment, you should be getting 400 plus megabits. And that's going to be it for this side of the product, and we'll go on over to the other room now. Products on display. This is a static display. What we're showing off is a lot of the AC technology up on the top end here. You see on the top left we have our RT-AC66U router. This has been out on the market for about 7 or 8 months. This is our top of the line router at the moment on the AC standard. It's a 3x3 solution. When you go ahead and pan over on the right here, we're going to have our more performance mainstream entry. This is going to replace our RT-N56U. This is the AC56U. This is a 2x2 solution. And this should be hitting the market in the second quarter of this year. We don't have a price yet announced for it. Panning over here to the right, this is what we just saw in the demo. This is the PCE AC66 card. It's a 3x3 client solution. And this is $99 and should be available within the next week or so in the channel. As you can see, it comes with the antenna mount, so you can go ahead and mount the antennas on the stand, or you can go directly to the back of the card, whichever solution you prefer for your setup. Let's go ahead and go down right here. We have a small device here. This is what you may have seen as maybe like a USB Ethernet solution for maybe some ultrabooks. What makes this really unique and why we have it labeled as an all-in-one USB adapter is that this can actually act as a Wi-Fi adapter as well as a router, as well as a repeater. So what you can do is you can connect to a Wi-Fi hotspot, obviously, get your internet connection from there. You can also rebroadcast that connection out under your own SSID, as well as create a guest SSID. And this one will be $29, and this should be available by the end of the month. Here we have a repeater, our RPN53 range extender. This guy is kind of like what it sounds like. You'll see that it mounts into the wall, into the wall socket. It'll take your signal, rebroadcast it. It is dual band, so you can take a 2.4 gigahertz signal, rebroadcast it into 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, connect your clients, and then to this guy, and then this guy will go back to the router. This comes with a nightlight, which is touch activated on the front, as well as music capabilities. You'll be able to configure connections to DLNA servers and play audio out and into different rooms. Here we have another replacement of our N series. We have a USB N53. This is the USB AC53. This is another 2x2 solution. It is USB 2.0 based, as that is the only thing that the chipset supports at the moment. As you can see, we have a little stand here that it comes with, so you can go ahead and mount it on your notebook or display for optimal signal, as well as a desktop mount here. These are both included in the package, and this will be $69. And this will also be by the end of the month. And here we're showing off a 3x3 N solution. This is our USB N66 with an orthogonal design. You can see we have standard and high-powered modes. This is a really good device to go ahead and be able to get access to APs from a long distance, from a long range, and get a good signal. So what we're showing here, we don't have a physical product in, is our RTAC 67U. This is going to replace the RTAC 66U that we just saw in the other room as our highest end router. This is going to be based on the latest Broadcom chipset, which comes in normally clocked at 800 megahertz. We will have options to go higher than that, and with this device you should see the highest throughput speeds on AC yet, and this will be available third quarter.
Okay.
Okay, so this is our Cube with Google TV, which powered by Google TV platform version 3, and it has quite many features. And the first one I will introduce you is the voice search.
The thing that's most important is I think you spend enough time with that, you're not going to refine one thing. And that's the biggest message
Okay.
that we're just trying to get across.
Actually, we just got a hotkey on our remote control, so you can just access the voice search function by pressing this hotkey. Facebook.com, and then we have a mic just right here, and you just launch the website. I just speak out, and let me try another example. Spider-Man. I just name a movie, Spider-Man, and it just show the movies right directly here, and it's so easy that you can buy it right now.
This is awesome because they're more accurate, they're more software driven, and they go, I really like it, but then it goes, it feels archaic to them. Well, to us, there's still kind of like a pride aspect to it, it's like, it's manually.
Okay.
And in some ways, yeah, it's still be a little bit.
Still want that somewhere.
But I think for
Yeah.
us, we're consciously going, how can we try to signal,
Okay. Another feature of our Cube is the motion game, because the most important differentiation from our Cube to other competitors is that we pay a lot of attention in motion games. So we just right now work with quite a lot game developers like EA and Ubisoft. So you can expect that when the product is launched, we will have quite many different games pre-bundled on our box. Here, let me show you the game we just implemented right here.
and I was like so blown away because I was like, historically, every single piece of software looked like crap, didn't run right.
Whoops. I'm sorry. That's the problem of the internet access. So, yeah, but basically you can imagine that we have car racing and boat racing games, and you can just play the game by using our remote control because we have built-in gyro and G sensor. Okay.
Well, and there's cool stuff. I mean, it's hard to argue. I mean, with something like tough, right? I mean, how else are you going to get that full radar map?
And
You know, just like I've talked to you guys in for the chassis.
okay.
I still think it's a
Now I'll talk about our contents. Okay, so for our Cube, because we have HDMI in and HDMI out, so not only connect to the TV, you can also use our Cube to connect to any set-top box or game console or any other devices. Okay, so that you can just interchange the live TV or your games to the Cube on your big screen TV. So let me show the live TV right here. It's very easy because we have a hotkey on our remote control, the live TV. Yeah, and also we have the picture-in-picture mode. So you will see the small screen on top. That is the live TV.
So, but this is not an XME9.
Yeah. And another feature that I want to highlight is the user interface, because different from other competitors, we just design our own UI, just like this cube. It's easy to flick the box, okay? And then we just already categorize different applications, and you can check in the category of sports how many apps you have already downloaded. And for music, here we have 4 different apps. It's easier for users to access the application they want. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's the most of the features we have on our Cube. Of course, we have more functions like remote control on our portable devices, because we have a customized application for users to download from the Google Play so that they can navigate the Cube just on their cell phone or their pad. Yeah, but same problem with the Wi-Fi, so I'm sorry that cannot demo that.
That's all right.